For today's video, we're going to be planting up our broccolis. This is the Imperial broccoli from Johnny Seed, and it's supposed to be more heat tolerant. As you know, sometimes when you plant your spring crops, what happens is sometimes the weather just switches and it starts getting really hot really quickly. So I decided to go ahead and purchase this variety of broccoli because it should be really tolerant of that. I've had it hardened off for like a few weeks now, honestly, and a that's a major problem that I have. Like, I'll have the starts and stuff, but to get out and actually plant them, sometimes I wait a little bit too long. And if you could see in my earlier videos, I actually did that with some bok choys and they ended up bolting. So I have a whole plan for that, and I'll probably try to get those planted up tomorrow. But for today, we're going to plant up the Imperial broccoli. Initially, I was just going to come out here and plant a few of them just to fill up this 3x6 garden bed. But I looked at the weather. It was raining before, but I looked at the weather and it's not raining anymore. So I was like, okay, let me just grab my camera and plant these up with you guys. I mean, I'm sure you're tired of seeing how I plant because it's essentially the same, but I just want to take you guys along just to feel like you are gardening along with me. It's so much more fun having you guys out here with me. And I also have some dahlias that I planted in this bed corner that I'm going to take out. We'll see if it does better in the ground than it did in the container. You guys saw when I was planting the blueberries, they did not survive in the containers, which I know, and they have survived in ground before, but I'm curious to see if it did it again. So we're just going to get this bed cleared up. There's a little bit of weeds growing in there. And then we're going to we're going to rake off the straw and add some fertilizer. We're just using the chicken manure coop poop. And we're going to put back the mulch. And then we're going to use my dibble dabble thingy, make some holes for the broccoli, and then plant that up. So we're just going to go through everything, and then I'll stop and show you guys how it's looking. So what I do is I pick up the tray and I squeeze the bottom, and that just makes it much easier to get out. And then with my pointer and my middle, I just create a human scissor and I hold it by the base and I close my scissor and I just gently pull, and here we have our start. So I'm going to take out a few of them just to make let's do the squeezing first, just to make this process a little bit easier. So once I'm taking out a few, I can just grab and place them in the spaces. Starts like this that have a large plant here And then these very two tiny ones, I'm not going to keep those. I'm just going to pull those out, and you can keep these and essentially use them as, what's it called? Ugh. Just like spring greens, or I'll put the name up because I'm not remembering right now. But you can rinse these and go ahead and throw them in a salad instead of just like wasting it. I'm going to try that today. So this one will be by its lone self, and I'm planting all of these singular. Here's another good one. We have a nice tall stout broccoli plant, and then we have this smaller one. This smaller one we're just going to pop out. A plant that looks like this, that has two very strong plants, we're going to hold them at their base like this, and we're just going to gently pull them apart. That, and we're going to go ahead and plant both of these, and it just always happens where one will have a little bit more root system than the other. That's just part of planting two together. They're going to be split not evenly. We were able to place 28 of the Imperial broccoli in this 6x3 bed, which is really good. The spacing that I did was just about 18 inches. Not 18, what am I saying? 8 inches. I try not to space them too closely because when they start getting up to size, you'll find that if you place them too close, a lot of the leaves will start to yellow because you're not getting any sun. They're kind of, fighting for space essentially, and I don't want to do that, so I like to just space them adequately from the get-go. We have a few broccoli plants, and we're just going to be doing a little bit of experiment with some of these, and let me show you the first experiment that I'm planning to do. So over here we have a bed of elephant garlic. They are a little bit shorter than the garlics that are in the other beds. The other garlics are about, I would say, about 12 inches or so. Meanwhile, these are about 6 inches. So they're like one of the last ones to come up, right? So I spaced them, I think, a little bit too wide. So I'm going to be trying something this year, this specific garlic, just because it's a little bit behind, and I want to see if I could put some broccolis in the spaces without any covering to see if the garlic and the scent of the garlic would kind of protect them from any pests. So I have extra broccoli, so I'm not too worried. I have the ones that I want that are, in the protection of the chicken wire. Because as you guys know, or you may not know, I deal with a lot of groundhog pressure, especially when it gets really warm. So I am just use my dibble dabble, and I'm just going to keep them in the innermost part of the planting, still trying to place them about 8 inches or so apart. And I'm trying to just choose the areas that I know there's no elephant garlic. And my hope is that before the elephant garlic starts getting really big, that the 70-day variety of broccoli will mature and I'll be able to harvest before the needing to harvest the garlic. Okay, so I was trying to sync up my voice because the background was just so loud with the kids. but I just give up. This was too much work. But I was just explaining here that this is the first time that I am interplanting broccolis and garlic together, and I'm just really hoping that both roots coincide really well. This is also my first year planting the elephant garlic in this bed. I used to plant it where I planted the carrots in the back bed, but because I've been planting uh, sweet potatoes and things like that, the soil has become really aerated. So whenever I plant the garlics there now, they actually sink too deep and they're not able to put on that green growth, which helps them to get more energy and continue growing. So this is why I moved them to this bed, and hopefully they do well along with the peas. So I'm really hoping that the scent of the garlic will deter a lot of the pests. I know it worked really well with the strawberries and onions in the front of the house, but I've never done it with garlic. I'm not sure if the scent is as intense as the onion. I mean, it should be. So, this is a experiment for me. I have the chicken wire that's a, physical barrier, but I'm trying to see if I could, adjust the way I plant things to also have that, plant companion relationship, to hopefully use things like the scent and stuff to prevent pests from trying to eat them. So this is why I'm planting them in the middle of the bed so that they have that garlic as a barrier. Since I know the route that the groundhogs take, which is through the rock wall, I'm also going to be planting some of my extra starts along that rock wall. So maybe if I feed them up there, they won't come down and actually feast on the main garden. Just some things that I've been thinking about and just trying to plant things in different areas and spaces. I will be putting some of my starts in the green stalk to see how well the broccolis grow in there. And then around the barrier of the actual garden, I'm going to be planting some more onions, some more chives, just seeing what I could do before I go ahead and invest in a fence around the entire garden. I'll also be placing some of the broccolis in the front of the trellis where the peas are growing upwards. Since they are growing upwards, they don't have any need for the space in front. So I'm going to be tucking some broccolis. Sometimes I tuck in some squash where they'll trail outside of the bed. It's just great use of the space. So that's what I'm kind of doing, just experimenting with places with this broccoli plant. We'll be doing the same thing over on this bed as well, just not in the back because the garlics are a bit taller and there's not as much space in between. So we're going to be sticking to planting them in the front. Guys, so we have completed our planting. We planted up that back bed back there, and we put some with our elephant garlic. We have, I would say, maybe 20 more broccoli plants, and I'm going to plant that up in one of our new beds, or put some in the green stalks to see how that goes. But I am really excited to get it in the ground because it's supposed to be raining for the next 3 days, like on and off, and the new seedlings is really going to enjoy that. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and until next time, Irie up yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.